Reboots have been extremely beneficial to the television business. For the most part, at least. The networks do want you to forget some of the more major humiliations they occasionally bring on. Over the years, a lot of cartoon remakes have appeared in an effort to revitalize existing franchises. Sometimes it works, and other times it makes everyone feel absolutely hopeless. Join Marvelous Videos as we examine 12 animated reboots that in some cases outperformed the originals they were based on. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Thundercats 2011. Thundercats is a Cartoon Network animated television series produced by Ethan Spalding and Michael Jelinek, created by the American firm Warner Bros. Animation and animated by Japanese studio Studio 4 Degree C. Thundercats was a resurrection of the same-name television program that ran from 1985 to 1987. It combined elements of Western and Japanese animation. On July 29, 2011, Cartoon Network broadcast the show's hour-long premiere. On January 30, 2014, Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass passed away, making this their final animation undertaking together. To find a way to stop the evil sorcerer Mum-Ra, who wants to conquer the universe, the Thundercats, a group of humanoid felines, are exiled from their home, the Kingdom of Thundera, and forced to explore the planet Third Earth. With far greater attention to character development and more complicated topics, the series attempts to convey stories more darkly and dramatically than the previous show. On the planet Third Earth, in the Kingdom of Thundera, the cats have flourished for eons. The cats are led by Claudius, whose son and heir apparent is Lion-O. One night, the realm is attacked by an army of lizards under the command of the evil wizard Mum-Ra. The technology that the lizards bring with them is unfamiliar to the cats. As a consequence, Mum-Ra enslaves the other cats and murders Claudius while destroying Thundera. A small band of Thunderians who have survived the destruction of their home city are led by Lion-O, who wields the powerful Sword of Omens to leave the destroyed city in pursuit of the Book of Omens, which is said to hold the knowledge needed to defeat Mum-Ra. When the Thundercats learn about it, they realize that in order to defeat Mum-Ra, they must unite all the various Third Earth races. The Thundercats discover that Mum-Ra has located 3 powerful stones in order to achieve his ultimate goal of becoming the universe's most potent force. The program modified the content for a contemporary audience while still paying respect to the original work. Here the emphasis was considerably greater on the plot, with long narrative arcs that were quite significant. Thundera's destruction was given a far more powerful, visceral experience by the show's creative team. Instead of repeating the fundamental premise of the prior series, in which Lion-O awakens with the body of a man and a child's intellect, this reboot deals with the sudden obligations imposed upon the teenage Lion-O, as well as the loss of his native city and father Claudius, voiced by the original series voice actor Larry Kenney. As a result of their sibling rivalry, Lion-O and Tigra's interactions with Cheetara are impacted. The perceived threat of Mum-Ra is much greater in this series. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, 2002. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is an animated television program. Michael Halperin, the creator of the original series, came up with the idea for it, and Mike Young Productions animated it for television. It served as an update to the 1980s Filmation series and was created to coincide with Mattel's revival of the Masters of the Universe franchise 11 years after its last attempt. 3 seasons of the program were shown on Cartoon Network's Toonami channel between August 16, 2002 and January 10, 2004. The goal of this incarnation of He-Man was to return to the beginning of the narrative and offer deeper insights than those seen in the previous season, including the beginnings of each character and certain well-known toyline figures making their first animated appearances. Several writers from the first season, notably Larry DiTillio, contributed to the series as well. It is also the second and final He-Man series to include a Canadian voice cast, except Cam Clark. You'll appreciate this program if you liked the first He-Man. The same people are all there, but the story and character development are more focused. There's more internal conflict and more links between the characters. This season is filled with drama involving the characters you loved in the 1980s. Additionally, the animation looks better. I object to the cheap Dragon Ball Z-like repetition of the same flying images during the fights. Although it's not bad, it becomes monotonous if you watch them too regularly. However, the level of satisfaction is rather good overall. Considering that this sentence directly mentions the pilot movie, I have to say, it's a great story that wasn't shown in the first season. It explains how Skeletor was made and how he acquired his endearing skeleton face. It provides the historical information you've been longing to know about since the early 1980s. It's worth seeing for that alone, honestly. It also explains how Prince Adam first became He-Man. Watch it, you won't be let down. X-Men Evolution, 2000. The American animated television series X-Men Evolution centers on the same-named Marvel Comics superhero group. Many of the characters in this edition were teenagers instead of adults, much like they were in the original comic book issues. Between November 4th, 2000 and October 25th, 2003, it ran on Kids WB for a total of 4 seasons and 52 episodes, making it the third longest running animated series in Marvel history, only behind the 90s X-Men and Spider-Man animated cartoons that aired on Fox Kids. This show was shown on Disney XD from June 15th, 2009 until December 30th, 2011. The story starts out a bit slowly. Naturally, the purpose was to introduce the people who would ultimately make up the Brotherhood and the X-Men squad. It was smart of them to do this in order to prevent viewers who were not familiar with the X-Men universe from becoming lost. The conclusion of the first season left me wanting more, but with enough action and character development, it satisfied my need for the X-Men and made me eager for season 2. As it went on, the series did get better and more organized. The show's tense relationships and conflicts gained a significant complexity with the introduction of more popular characters like Gambit and Colossus, and the dubious connection between Rogue and Remy. The series undoubtedly gives its characters depth. Since we initially encountered them in the series, they have had the opportunity to grow emotionally and personally. As a result, viewers will have strong opinions of them, whether they be positive or negative. Naturally, the animation in X-Men Evolution is better in terms of quality and fluidity than the animation in X-Men the Animated Series, but that doesn't mean the original animated series is subpar. My favorite parts of the show were the action sequences, the modest but equally convincing manner the mutants' talents were displayed, and the well-drawn facial expressions that let us understand what the characters were experiencing. Also deserving of appreciation is Steve Gordon's amazing character designs. Overall, X-Men Evolution is undoubtedly a fantastic series to try if you're an X-Men fan. Although the plots don't precisely follow the comics, that's what makes them good since it aims to make the stories set in the X-Men universe more relatable for younger people. DuckTales 2017. The American animated television series DuckTales was conceived by Matt Youngberg and Francisco Angones and is produced by Disney Television Animation. It is a remake of the eponymous 1987 television program based on Disney comic books by Carl Barks. The reboot premiered on August 12, 2017. After Donald Duck moves into McDuck Manor with his 3 nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Scrooge McDuck and Donald Duck are reunited. 10 years has passed since the last time the two had communicated, and the group sets off on numerous new treasure hunting excursions as the nephews and their new friend Webby discover the real reason why their uncles lost favor and stopped traveling on adventures when the entrance of the newcomers rekindles Scrooge's love for adventure. Webby is no longer the traditional 4th triplet who is girly. She is impulsive, imaginative, and fast to think and speak, and she speaks more quickly under pressure. The only member of the Junior Woodchucks who appears to be around still is Huey. He is the older and more disciplined triplet. He lacks his brother's levels of impulsivity, but make no mistake, he still has a naughty streak. With his 2 younger brothers, he often finds himself in perilous circumstances and doesn't appear to be alarmed about it. He thinks clearly, but sometimes overreacts to little things, like activities on class excursions. Dewey is the middle child. He is highly impetuous, much more so than Webby and his 2 brothers. He has no qualms about putting his life in jeopardy. He seems to like taking chances that may end fatally. The youngest of the trio is Louie. He is by far the most relaxed of the 3. He enjoys taking it easy a lot. However, he is prepared to take action at any time. The triplets have always referred to Scrooge McDuck as Uncle Scrooge, even though he's believed to be Donald Duck's uncle. He's the richest duck in the world, and he makes us think of Indiana Jones in some small ways. He's known all around the world as an adventurer who loves to get himself into trouble, unlike the Scrooge from the previous series. Even during his senior years, he is remarkably agile and capable of mounting a strong defense despite taking a beating. The triplets' uncle and guardian is Donald Duck. Donald plays a significant part in the remake, in contrast to the original series. He formerly served as Scrooge's sidekick, but the two fell out of contact after some sort of incident. Surprisingly, we find the new voice actors pretty enjoyable. The triplets may sound a little too old to some, but we think it works. The writing is outstanding, clever, enigmatic, and daring. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 2012 to 2017. As they celebrate their 16th birthday, the Turtles are ready to venture above ground and show off their ninja skills. Master Splinter reluctantly concurs. At first, they enjoy the outlandish surface with its outlandish lights and outlandish food. Things start to go bad when they see a girl and her father being abducted by men in a car. They try to intervene, but the battle is unsuccessful and the vehicle manages to get away. Later on, they discover that the persons they had believed to be kidnappers were robots, hauling the mutation-causing goo and holding living brain creatures in their chests. After getting intrigued by this strange connection, they get together and begin practicing team fighting, with Master Splinter appointing Leonardo as the leader. After attacking the enemy castle, they learn that these monsters go by the name the Krang and have malicious intentions. The Krang still have April's father, but she's finally saved. Due to the awful media coverage of the Turtles' attack, the Shredder decides to visit New York City and personally deal with Splinter / Hamato Yoshi's students there. The conflict between the Foot and Hamato clan becomes more intense as a consequence, and the mystery behind the Krang's goals for Earth and mankind, as well as a myth arc that most of the protagonists are ignorant of, start to come into focus. The Turtles' characters remain loyal to the source material. They still have their fraternal bonds, the animation is gorgeous, the tale is well thought out and engaging, and everything is simply fantastic in general. Only two things, if at all, could figure as complaints. Dawn's infatuation with April gets monotonous after a while, and Mikey occasionally comes across as too juvenile and incompetent. The rest is excellent.
Are already deceased. How can we possibly defeat them?
Transformers Prime, 2010 to 2013. The Valiant Autobots, a species of brave robots from another planet, secretly reside on Earth and fight the Decepticons. Every Transformers adaptation starts with the same basic idea. Autobots fighting Decepticons, Autobots befriending humans, etc. Given that setup is often the same for most events, there is little need to spend a lot of time on it. Transformers Prime has a stale premise, but the execution is actually really good. Although it is still a family-friendly action animation, it has a somber tone and occasionally veers into surprisingly dark terrain, making it a show that can both fulfill children's appetites for colorful action and disclose some unanticipated complexity to any potential adults watching. Even the filler episodes advance the universe and the characters, while mostly locking in the plot for that specific episode. Are we suggesting that the narrative of this program is the most intricate ever? Of course not. Even so, it's a lot more interesting than expected, making viewers care about what was occurring rather than just watching it because they like the franchise. The characters are intriguing, captivating, and surprisingly complex. It would be impossible to include every single member of the cast in full, so here's a brief synopsis starting with the primary Autobot cast. Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime, Kevin Michael Richardson's Bulkhead, who is powerful but not very intelligent, Sumali Montano's RC, who is fierce and devoted, and Jeffrey Combs' Ratchet, who may be grumpy but endearing, all make return appearances. The villains include Gina Torres as the villainous Arachnid, Frank Welker as the menacing Megatron, Steve Bloom as the cunning Starscream, and Darren Norris, who could pretty well be the best performance of the series. Josh Keaton plays the aspirational cool guy Jack, Tanya Gunadi portrays the nearly irritating but thankfully adorable Miko, Andy Pessoa plays the youthful but intelligent Raphael, and Ernie Hudson plays Special Agent Fowler. Sorry, but several intriguing plot twists go into places that we can't spoil by going into more detail about each character. Voltron Legendary Defender 2016. Voltron Legendary Defender is a Netflix original web series made by Studio Mir using a combination of hand-drawn and computer-generated animation. DreamWorks Animation and World Events Productions are the producers. Armored Fleet Dairuger XV and Beast King Go Lion are two different Japanese anime shows that served as inspiration for the 1984 American television program Voltron, Defender of the Universe. The fourth major television series in the Voltron franchise, it is the first Netflix production created exclusively for the web. Since its premiere in 2016, the show has had 8 seasons, the most recent of which debuted on December 14, 2018. The whole 75-episode run of the show has been televised. When Voltron Legendary Defender was announced, it was part of a long-term agreement between DreamWorks Animation and Netflix. Comic books have also been influenced by the series. On June 10, 2016, the full first season became accessible, and on February 8, 2016, the official logo made its debut. It's a perfect show for marathon viewing. The way the episodes flow into one another gives it the feel of both a TV series and a movie. If not a new format, it practically qualifies as new media. This recent change is fascinating. It will be intriguing to watch where it goes, both in this series and throughout all of television. In most shows, a hero, or a hero and their rival, get all of the spotlight, while the other protagonists are related to the background in many episodes where a group of heroes must intervene to save the day. Even if they do, it's obvious and unnatural that their primary goal was to give those characters more time on screen. They might have episodes in the limelight for sure. Such personalities frequently don't even matter in the end. However, this is not the situation with Voltron. The team's 5 members each receive respect, and they genuinely feel like a unit. Although there is a leader, he doesn't overshadow the other team members. Additionally, it doesn't seem as though the marketing team pushed him to take the lead. Rather, it seems like he should and would naturally do so, given that he's the most knowledgeable and experienced of all of the characters. We admire how this program can take stories from typical TV episodes and transform them into intriguing ones on an emotional and intellectual level. In the third to last episode, the spacecraft carrying the heroes gets corrupted. Yes, it's funny, but by the time it's through, you'll be in tears since a big sacrifice has to be made. One needs a firm understanding of storytelling to be able to pull something like this off. Now, we're not claiming this program is faultless. While a substantial level of suspension of disbelief is required for a show like this, it may occasionally push you too far and feel too manufactured. It can also occasionally become bogged down in matters we don't care about. However, it's the show's antagonists, none of whom are compelling, which are the weakest component. We wouldn't be surprised if you missed the heroes whenever the baddies are on screen and waited for them almost impatiently, but the characters, setting, and storyline are engrossing enough to have you glued to the screen. The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, 1996 to 1997. The team was just a few years older than the original 1960s series, but the series significantly altered the established canon in several ways. Specifically, Haji is Dr. Quest's assistant, 2 years older than Johnny, and possesses far more subtle magical abilities. Even while it incorporates certain concepts from the 2 TV movies, such as recreating Jesse's character, the show mostly ignores prior incarnations of the program, such as the one from the 1980s. As the Quest team battles 3 powerful adversaries, the villainous scientist Dr. Jeremiah Surd, the enraged former government agent Ezekiel Rage, and Dr. Quest's clever arch-rival Dr. Zinn, they embark on several discoveries and adventures. Warner Archive has released the first season in 2 volumes with 13 episodes each for die-hard viewers. The latter set recently became available. The program never really functioned well, and it still doesn't stand up after several viewings. It unquestionably declined when John Ing and Cosmo Anzalotti took over after showrunner Peter Lawrence was fired in 1996. You can tell exactly where Lawrence left off because after the first 13 episodes of the first season, Lawrence's themes that were based on reality were changed to more typical sci-fi supernatural ones. The goal of turning the beloved mascot into a franchise and global symbol was unsuccessful despite a significant marketing effort due to poor execution. It recalls the original Johnny Quest thanks to the efforts of art director Takashi Masanuga. Lawrence used the 1986-born character Jesse on the New Adventures of Johnny Quest, an earlier relaunch effort that also failed. The dramatic tension that was lacking in the previous rendition was added by the two so that they would argue and irritate one another. Thanks to CGI and digital painting, it had an interesting visual appearance. Now that the purportedly unbreakable bandit had joined them, Johnny, voiced by J.D. Roth, and Haji, voiced by Michael Benair, may have actually been teenagers. Lawrence used actual events like the airstrips of Nazca, the ruins of Teotihuacan, or the hypothetical existence of giant squids as inspiration for his fiction. According to Lawrence, Johnny's response to danger will be similar to Race's. Dr. Quest's passion for mysterious, inexplicable phenomena will be shared by Jesse. Because of his roots in a different culture and his more spiritual approach to life, Haji is also unusual. The frequent threats from Jeremiah Surd and Ezekiel Rage kept things from getting quiet, even though Surd's vow to exact revenge on Bannon was at least interesting. Following the investigation into the storied Mary Celeste in the second book, the team is dispatched to Borneo. Surd appears in a few of the early episodes, so you can immediately see that Lawrence is no longer the main focus of the story. The stories are based on The Ballad of Belle Bonnet, which features a ghost. Then a werewolf story comes along, and all of a sudden we're watching tried and true formula television. It's hard to believe that Rage, with no concern for humanity, wants to melt the polar ice caps. Even though the first volume of episodes is unquestionably the better written and more fascinating compilation, there are still enough jewels in this collection to keep you interested for quite a while.
Drowsy gator. Oh, and a word of advice. Don't
Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, 2010. The 11th Scooby-Doo cartoon created by Hanna-Barbera and the first to not debut on Saturday mornings, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated is an American animated television series. Following its American television debut on Cartoon Network on April 5th, 2010, the series' first episode, which was created by Warner Bros. Animation for Cartoon Network UK, aired once more on July 12th, 2010. The program ended on April 5th, 2013, following 2 seasons and 52 episodes. Mystery Incorporated returns to Scooby and the gang's early days, when they are still investigating mysteries in their hometown, despite various references to prior editions of the franchise. The classic Scooby-Doo formula is lightheartedly adapted in the program, with each villain's story containing more ridiculous technology, powers, and circumstances. Additionally, each episode includes a different take on the famed meddling kids remark. However, 2 characteristics that have never been seen in a Scooby-Doo series before are included here. A series format with a lengthy story arc that includes multiple dangerous plot elements that are treated extremely seriously, and ongoing character relationship conflicts contrast sharply with the original series. In addition, it's the first installment in the franchise since the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo to feature actual ghosts and monsters. Scooby-Doo is cute and all, but after years of repeating the same formula, a relaunch with a darker tone, more developed personalities for the gang, and more complex interactions between them and the supporting cast was very welcome. The interplay between Fred and Daphne, who's smitten with him and makes for the most laughter in the entire series, is delightfully awkward since he is humorously concerned with traps. Additionally, the typical villain in a mask is extended to all 52 episodes, with clues dispersed throughout to add to one enormous mystery plot. This makes the series extremely easy to binge because there are so many exciting turns and surprises along the way. Not everything and anyone is exactly as they seem to be. Along the way, the other pop culture components are frequently included in amusing parodies and entertaining riffs on the franchise's cliches. Sonic Boom, 2014 to 2017. Sega of America Inc. and Wido Productions collaborated with Lagardère Thématiques and Je ne sais TV, respectively, to develop the computer-generated animated television series Sonic Boom for Cartoon Network, Canal J, and Gully. It is the 6th animated television series loosely based on the Sonic the Hedgehog video game franchise, and the first to employ computer-generated imagery animation in high definition. The show debuted in November 2014. The television program is a part of the Sonic Boom spin-off series, which also consists of the computer games Rise of Lyric, Shattered Crystal, and Fire and Ice, a comic book series from Archie Comics, and a line of Tomy toys. The adventures of Sonic, Tails, Amy, Knuckles, and Styx, the main characters from the Sonic Boom video game series, are the focus of the series as they protect their hometown on Seaside Island from assaults by Dr. Eggman and his robot creations, as well as other villains and hostile forces. Each episode consists largely of a standalone tale with comedy elements, yet characters confront a range of worries and issues that affect their attempts to safeguard their homes. Sonic Boom was the first CGI cast television series based on a character from a 1990s video game. This shift, which gives this lively group fresh vigor and gives the program a more contemporary air than its predecessors, is a pleasant one. This makes it much more enticing for children, who will find it fun in the adversary and protagonist's posing and the dialogue's quick-fire jabs. It also helps that the characters are endearingly eccentric. While neither the content nor the ideas this series conveys to children are particularly novel, it balances the brutality with a likable antagonist who is more interested in his wealth than he is in causing harm to others. Many of the sequences between Dr. Eggman and Sonic have humorous exchanges, so it's difficult to be very alarmed by the fights and explosions that are reminiscent of video games. The show's ultimate goal is for the spectators to enjoy themselves, and they undoubtedly will.
Make a living, if I do say so myself.
The Looney Tunes Show, 2011. From May 3rd, 2011 through November 2nd, 2013, Cartoon Network aired the American animated comedy The Looney Tunes Show, which was produced by Warner Bros. Animation. In this 2-season, 26-episode series, characters from the Merry Melodies and Looney Tunes theatrical cartoon shorts are updated for the 21st century. Initially, the series received mixed reviews from critics, who praised the visual aesthetic, humor, character depiction, and voice acting, while criticizing the direction, departures from the source material, lack of slapstick, and changes to the characters' appearance and personalities. Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck's colorful neighbors include Tina Russo, Foghorn Leghorn, Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd, Sylvester, Tweety, Granny, Lola Bunny, Porky Pig, Gossamer, Taz, Speedy Gonzales, Marvin the Martian, Pete Puma, and others throughout the series. The series was less comedic and visually amusing and more adult, with issues including love triangles, employment, and rooming. The show is pretty clever and entertaining. The plots are great since they're interesting and funny. The only animation that is below average is in the Roadrunner segments, otherwise it's pretty good. Particularly entertaining characters are Bugs and Daffy. Several songs make up the Merry Melodies. Some are simply okay, while others are catchy and pleasant. Making the Looney Tunes into a comedy show doesn't make anything worse. Even though Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote may not be as enjoyable for fans of Looney Tunes, it's worth watching because it's so accurate and true to the original. Check it out, even if one might think that the prior ones were better and the software might not be the most creative. Danger Mouse, 2015. Danger Mouse is an animated television program produced by Fremantle Media, Boulder Media, and Boat Rocker Media since Fremantle Media Kids and Family was acquired by Boat Rocker Media in 2018. Danger Mouse, who describes himself as the world's greatest secret agent, and his hamster sidekick Penfold are featured in the series, a reproduction of the 1981 television series of the same name, as they defend the globe from various threats. Danger Mouse has the tools to overcome his arch-enemy Baron Silas von Greenback thanks to the assistance of his employer, Colonel K, and the brilliant scientist Professor Squawk-and-Cluck. The resurgence of Danger Mouse was first brought up in 2013, and it was later confirmed in 2014 with Brian Cosgrove, who also co-created the original series, working on its creation. After the main cast was disclosed in 2014, other cast members were made public later that year. The series premiered on CBBC on September 28, 2015, more than 20 years after the first season ended. In its first 3 weeks of broadcast, Danger Mouse had 2.4 million viewers, making it the most popular show on the CBBC channel. On May 19, 2016, the third series of 26 episodes was authorized for the program, and on April 4, 2017, the second series of 26 episodes were ordered. Now is the perfect time to see the streaming resurrection of the original series, if you like it. The distinctive British insanity comedy is fresh and modern, yet it is an almost flawless representation of the classic style. Even while each joke or illusion is rooted in the present, it nevertheless has a playful humor and silliness that appeals to individuals of all ages. As has already been said, the plot advancement is completely random. The characters are caricatures and the storylines are pure camp, yet this only serves to increase the fun. If you don't like Terry Pratchett, Douglas Adams, Stephen Fry, or Hugh Laurie, this program might not be for you. Astro Boy, 2003 to 2004. Little Tetsuwan Atom, the abandoned experiment of a villainous doctor, never requested the abilities he now possesses, yet he is alive today owing to the brilliance of Dr. Ochanomizu. Dr. Ochanomizu powers up Tiny Atom to educate him on the fundamentals of life in his quest to build the first robot kid capable of thinking and emotion. However, nothing is ever that easy, and Atom often finds himself in trouble, drawing the wrath of his fellow people. Only Atom can stop Metro City's power plant, the Glowworm, from going insane. Will Atom win the public's respect and trust? And has Dr. Ochanomizu's experiment been successful? All things considered, Sony did a fantastic job of bringing back everyone's favorite robot child. Because of how well the first episode was handled, the program should be a tremendous hit when it ultimately airs in America. Tezuka has always been the go-to artist when something with a little less flash and a little more soul is needed. Tezuka's character designs may turn off modern anime fans, and his distinctly retro style may not appeal to the current huge breasts, big pecs, crazy hair, laser sword loving crowd in a significant way. Audiences of all ages should enjoy Astro Boy, which is exquisitely illustrated, consistently fascinating, and wonderfully challenging. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, be safe out there, and thanks for watching.
Join us next week, boils and gargoyles, for another Fear Fest.